Hi, welcome to Let's Draw Something. My name is Jeff and thank you for tuning in. Today I am going to introduce you to basic shapes and teach you how to draw things from using those basic shapes. So the things that you're going to need is pretty basic. We're going to need a pad, drawing pad that is, and a pencil of your choice. You can use a color pencil or you can use a number 2 pencil. And we are going to go through these steps on how to draw an object around the house. Grab the piece of paper or drawing pad and a pencil and come with me. Alright guys, here I have it. I've shaped my bottle that I'm looking at right now. What you guys should be doing now is shaping your bottle using basic shapes to form the bottle. I will put the basic shapes on the screen here to show what I'm talking about, but I use basic shapes to shape the bottle before I began adding a little bit more detail. As you can see, my detail lines are pretty light. As a beginner, you're going to need to learn to draw very lightly, and the reason being is that it avoids you from having to have very harsh lines. At this stage that I'm in right now, I'm darkening in my lines because I feel a lot more comfortable with what I'm looking at on paper. So as you draw, you want to form the shape until you are comfortable with the image on your paper. And once you have done that, then you can begin to get a little darker in darker areas. You want to detail real harsh areas to form a hard line around certain points of your object. As you can see here, I'm getting a shape down here. I'm going over some areas that I'm thinking that should be darker. Now this is going to be a little bit of a process to get going here. As you can see here, I'm making sure the center is round, and then up at the top of the bottle here, I'm adding a little bit more detail to the metal piece that's coming out of the bottle. I'm getting ready to make my final note to every inch of the bottle. Alright guys, for the fun part, it's time to start shading and creating your details on your object. You want to pick a part of the object to begin putting in shadow. You want to make sure that you define the highlighted area and the darkest part of your subject. You want to begin from the top and work your way down. Wherever you place your shadows, you want to make sure that it's showing realistic look to the area. As you shade, you want to form shapes out of your shadows.
you want to make sure that all of your area of the object is shaded in, and make sure that you shade lightly, because if you shade too dark in the beginning, and if you make a mistake, you will have to go back in and erase, and sometimes your erasing will damage your picture. So always begin shading lightly. As you can see here, I'm shaping things. I'm using different forms of shading. I'm concentrating on the shape of the bottle when I'm shading. You always want to have a game plan when you're shading, and you want to always pay attention to your object. Make sure you know where every highlight is and where your darkest part of your object is, because this is going to determine the realistic look in your final piece. Okay guys, as you can tell, I have two bottles in the upper right frame. Now I'm going to demonstrate how I go about placing a second object in the frame. Now as you can see, I'm starting off very lightly. I'm looking at my object, shaping the object as I go. Now you always want to try to measure up your object by your eyes. This will take some practice, however, but always try to measure by sight. You're going to make some mistakes when trying to get different angles correctly, but always stay lightly. Keep your pencil drawn very lightly so that the dark lines will not interfere with your first sketch on the paper. If you do draw very dark, you might have to start over or you might have to erase. But stay light, start shaping what you see, use your basic shapes, and form everything until you are comfortable enough to begin darkening in the lines. So as you can tell, I'm trying to get a good angle of my object on paper. I'm laying down multiple light lines. I'm still drawing lightly. I'm using all my angles as I draw. I'm drawing through my main object, which is the taller bottle, and I'm mentally establishing the length of the bottle and the shape of the bottle through the main bottle. Now here I'm roughly sketching in the wrap around the neck of the bottle. If you don't understand how the wrap is wrapped, just go ahead and indicate that there's something around the bottle, and you will come back later and start to shape that wrap. You will have to spend a little bit more time and detail in order to get the wrap exactly how you want it. But as you can see here, I'm just roughly landmarking everything, and when I'm done, I'll come back in and draw a little darker. Now if you are having issues drawing combination of objects and not understanding how to form objects, I do hold classes on Zoom. All you need to do is contact me by my email, which is letsdrawsomething88@gmail.com. I can go through some basic steps with you and guide you in drawing these basic shapes that I'm using. Okay guys, here's a zoom in picture of the objects that I'm drawing. I'm now going to start adding details to the second bottle. There's objects in the bottle that I'll be drawing. Now, this is going to be a difficult task for those who are just beginning, but as you can see what I'm doing here, I'm just giving the illusion of something in the bottle. I'm not adding a lot of detail, but I'm just doing a lot of gestures, which I can explain in the next video. The gestures will be just a glimpse of something that is somewhat there but not really, because like I said earlier, you want to use very light lines. You want to use just enough lines to indicate areas of your object. So basically, I just added a few gesture lines or line gestures to show that there's something in the bottle, because I want that bottle to look like it's being seen through or able to see through. So this is considered a little bit more advanced technique and steps, which I will do another video on advanced drawing. Once again, if you are interested in learning how to draw and learning how to use basic shapes, please contact me, and we can set up a time and meet on Zoom, and I can walk you through steps and give you a little bit more details in how we can get started. Alright guys, here I am adding a little bit more detail, but staying light and just adding those gesture drawing images. I'm just laying down shadows in different areas that I want darker. I'm trying to stay light, not overdoing it. I just want to also give that illusion that there's an image there that's laying on the table and it's not floating. When you add shadows to something, you form a mask, you form something solid. It makes it look more realistic. If you don't add the shadows, it gives the illusion a lot of times that something is floating. If you are going for that look, it's okay. You want to also show a shadow under a floating object, which I can do a video on that also. But right now I'm just adding some shadows, trying to make everything look realistic. I'm bringing everything together now with the shadows. I'm solidifying my drawing by those shadows being laid down. So learn to see everything. You want to learn to make sure that everything in your drawing is realistic. As you can see here now, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to lay my shadow on the bottle that's standing. Now, it might look like the bottle is floating, but once I lay the shadow down, it will give a whole new dimension to the bottle. Alright guys, I'm just putting some finishing touches to the shadows and I'm gonna call this done. Well, I'd like to say thank you for watching and stay tuned for more. The next video will be getting a little bit more detail and creating more of a solid, realistic look to my objects.